Hello, beautiful people. Apologies for being 3 minutes late. Sorry about that. I was running around in circles trying to get my act together. So apologies for not being as prompt and timely with my appearance as I should have been. This evening, it will be a chill stream. There is no real plan. I have a couple of things that I could talk about. I want to bring you up to date on what's going on with Tim, why he has not been here on our last two weekly appearances, which are normally on Wednesdays. And I just want to chill out and enjoy my tasty beverage. Fantastic. So I thought we would do that together. Before we get started, please do follow this channel, Semagog, as well as A Safer Space. You can do that on YouTube. You can do that on BitChute. Then there is Minds, there is Gab, there is Telegram, there is Twitter. For those who wish to support the channel, there is GoFundMe, and there is Subscribestar, which reminds me that I should celebrate those immortals, those Praetorian Chads, who make this channel possible. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to pull this up so that all of their names written on the tablet of life can be viewed and enjoyed by all of you. And I do want to, in particular, point out Cyberpunk Internal Affairs, who has helped me with producing some music for this channel, and I have not forgotten about that. I just need to produce a new opening clip, and I have been rather in the midst of 100 things lately. So these are the names of the mighty personages who make this channel possible. I thank them one and all. And, you know, as you can read here, all of the credit and none of the blame. So let me just jump back here. No, I switch back over here like I'm supposed to. There we are. What else? Yeah, there's GoFundMe and Subscribestar. My books, I shall shill them. My science fiction book, Vinculum. You can find this on Amazon. This is available under the name Oliver Perrin, a dystopian sci-fi, sort of cyberpunk-ish, but set in the year 2076. A book thief is pursued by esoteric assassins and relentless corporate hitmen. Then there is my collection of poems. This is Cinders from the Bloomery of Youth. You can find that on Amazon as well. That's under the name Oliver Timken Perrin. So those are the books. And someone very kindly to my P.O. box sent me this wonderful book, A Treasury of Southern Folklore. Isn't that exciting? I thank the sender very, very much. And I look forward to seeing all the interesting things that are in it, because there's quite a bit here from back in the day. So yeah, where do we start? First off, I don't know what's going on with Tim. Last week, no, 2 weeks ago, on Tuesday evening, I think it was, I heard from him and he said, I am not feeling well. I asked him what it was. It sounded like it was probably something respiratory. You know, on one hand, I'd say it's the coof, you know, but he doesn't go out, and his wife doesn't go out much at all. I'd also been hearing him say that he was having problems with some malaria that he had once upon a time coming back. Apparently, malaria never goes away completely. So then 1 week ago, around Wednesday, around this time, I got in touch with him and I'm like, hey, you know, send up a signal flare. What's going on with you? You know, let me know you're all right, or let me know if you're not all right. And he just wrote back saying, still here, ... not well. And he tends to be laconic with his emails these days. So there's nothing out of the ordinary with that. I have seen him on, you know, my Skype. Sometimes when I go to it, I'll see that, you know, it'll show the little status indicator, so I can sometimes see when he's on his computer, because it shows as, you know, your little green disc or whatever. So I haven't heard from him. As best I know, he's still alive. I certainly hope so. And as soon as I know more, I will let all of you know. Otherwise, yeah, that's that. You know, keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I hope he will come through it. From everything I've seen thus far, he's exceedingly hard to kill. So let us hope that this remains the case. Now, what else do I have here? I've got some a book as kind of a backup, some things that I looked at that I was reading during my studies for semiotics and all the rest back in the day that I can fall back on, a particular writer I'm really into. some angles on semiotics. So if there aren't great questions or whatever, I guess I can talk about that for a minute. But at this point, this is very much a chill stream, which is why the slate for it is a picture my mom took when I was asleep in her bed sometime back around, I don't know, 77, 78, something like that. This is a low pressure chill out stream. So let me look here and see what sort of comments we've had thus far. See if there are any that are fit for me to respond to. I see Jesse J is in the house. Hello, sir. Horse Mumbler has a question about the Oregon experiment and the works of Christopher Alexander, asking if I am familiar with them, and I am sorry to say, no, I am not. Fiend J is in the house. This actually should, this reminds me that this is a good time to thank everyone who is involved with moderating. And this is, I think I'm going to go ahead and make Charlemagne a moderator too, just so that he can wreak havoc. Let's see here. Let's make him a moderator too, whether he wants to be one or not. Okay. Dagbreaker, I see. Hello, sir. Simon JJ, howdy. Yeah. Sarah Connor says, let me get over here where I can feature these things. I'm on the wrong one. It says, poor Tim. I hope he is well. Yes, I do too. I certainly do too. We'll have to see what's coming. I mean, I just sent him an email. He does not tend to respond quickly. Let's just double check here, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you whether or not there's anything new on that. Good Lord, I'm having a boomer moment. I think it's about time for me to make the icons in my dock down at the bottom a little bit bigger because I'm squinting. Next thing you know, I'm going to have to wear reading glasses. Where is the damn thing? Sorry, people. This is a bit boomerish, I know. Yeah, no response at present. Okay, so, yes, what we have here. Dagbreaker says that malaria is a bear. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, it's apparently a beast and doesn't go away. I remember once recently Tim was, sort of joking and sort of bragging. He was like, the only type of malaria I haven't caught is the bone breaker one or whatever. So, yeah. James Del Norte says, someone got a haircut. No, I just tied it back. There's no hair cutting going on around here. Let's see here. Cayman Miles says hello. Hello, right back at you. Tricky Who says the dreaded Cootie's 19. Yeah, I don't know that it's that. I mean, he's pretty beat up as it stands. So, yeah, that's the one thing that would probably rocket him to the height of the least possible amount of him not giving a fuck, which would be sending spiritual folding money. James Del Norte says, who's Tim? A co-host and friend who and someone who's been on the channel for quite some time. Apostolic Majesty in the house. Let me go ahead and take this opportunity to promote his channel. Excellent content, and he will be appearing along with his sometime co-host and classicist Columba coming up this Saturday, along with another person whose channel I should recommend, and that is Pharaoh, who does great content on art and culture. So Columba, Apostolic Majesty, and Pharaoh will all be joining me this coming Saturday. All right, what else do we have here? Zenploy2000 says, wish Tim a speedy recovery. I appreciate that. Yeah, I screwed up. I made Charlemagne moderator. I deserve whatever I get. All right, let's see here. Here's one from James O. in Candenza. Semiotic, unrelated to anything specific, but would you ever think about doing a symbolic mythological reading of Dark Souls 1 lore with regard to the postmodern condition? Shout out to Morcar. No, I don't know enough about it. I've watched a few of the live streams with Charlemagne and Mr. D, really relentlessly, just viciously mocking Morcar as he goes about his business. But I don't know really anything about the game. I recently stopped by a friend of mine's house and he had some like super recent version of it going. He explained to me that he had like the second to last place, a bunch of shit I don't understand. Basically, he doesn't have the latest PlayStation, but some games that you can play on it are like the latest one. And it was some version of Dark Souls that had some sort of creature in an endless expanse of water with fallen buildings in the background, and it kept leaping about and dragging its carapace and warm body around. And it was really all like, it was the kind of thing that would give me horripilations and possibly vertigo and convulsions, because it was there was just too much going on there. Just too much going on there. Yeah, what an odd question. Degrade says, what do you think of Dorian Gray? Well, you know, his portrait eventually revealed what was going on with him. It's been a long time since I've read Wilde. I used to have a bit of the Ballad of Reading Gaol memorized, and the importance of being earnest is quite a little play. Yeah, for that kind of sardonic humor, I really like what's his name, Wilde for that, but I also like H.H. Munro, Saki, as well. All right, so do we have any questions, ladies and gentlemen, or has the time come for me to just start talking about some of the things in the background I have here, this particular group of books that I was going to talk about? While I do, I guess I will do that, and I will sip my glass. I used to know the names of these glasses. They're from the 50s, and they have this gold leaf on them. And I've been buying them. I now have 3 different sets of them. Someone perhaps in the chat will remember, but these are the bomb. They go very well with my chocolate milk. Okay, think of some questions, people, because I just basically blew in here, decided it was time to talk to everyone, figure out what's going on, keep the questions coming. But I'm going to jump over to my books because I want to tell y'all about this whole angle. I've started to look at my whole series on nationalism and Marx and semiotics, and I had been through quite a bit of this material before, but I'm looking at it again because I'm going to be picking up that whole business again, working on my books, which is basically going to be on semiotics and nationalism. So I went digging back through this. Many people who are involved in semiotics or who know something about it will probably be aware. On the one side, you have Saussure, who's a very famous, very eminent, very accomplished, just badass Swiss linguist, and he's the one who gave us the course in general linguistics, or his students who maintained their notes and compiled them there together at the end are the ones who gave us that. And that's where we get the idea of the difference between the signifier and the signified. And most of the things that we associate with the sort of linguistics angle on semiotics, most importantly, the idea that it's always arbitrary. You know, as I've said a million times before, the classic example is you can choose all these different words for a given thing, and those words can be chosen arbitrarily. I mean, except for some of the things, and Saussure notes these, like, you know, somebody going bah for a sheep, or moo for a cow, or, you know, woof, woof, woof for a dog. But you do find out that there's some arbitrariness there too, because the Turks, for example, they don't say woof, woof, woof. They say hav, hav, hav, go figure. But other than some of those more or less motivated signifiers in the linguistic realm, the vast majority are entirely arbitrary. So as I often say, you can say ach for tree, you can say arbor in Latin for tree, and you can just say tree in English, and it's totally arbitrary whichever one you choose. And so that really, that's something I'm going to be digging into with my upcoming book that I'm working on, Semiotics of Nationalism, because everything about meaning and signification is predicated on this arbitrariness. And I hope to be able to attack the heart of the postmodern left, and particularly a number of these academics, by going for the throat of this idea of arbitrariness. And that's where these books that I'm about to mention come into play. But before we jump over to them, I have to talk about the other primary sort of angle on semiotics, which is through an American logician and philosopher, and some other things as well, named Charles Sanders Peirce. And Peirce is the one who gives us semiotic. Saussure proposed that there should be an overarching category for all signification that would include linguistics, and he called it semiology. So semiology is more like a continental tradition following Saussure. Semiotics is Peirce, but they're generally, they're used interchangeably in large part, unless somebody is aware of the finer differences. So the Peirce is very, very interesting because he gets much more complex about it, and much, much more philosophical. Goes much further than Saussure did. There's no, can't really get into it now, but he's got ideas of firstness and secondness and thirdness. There's a lot about the nature of perception itself and things for which a predicate may be asserted. He's kind of following along behind Kant, or Kant, however you want to say it, but he kind of very much goes his own way. But his primary thing is that you can break signifiers down into icons, which are semblances that actually look like someone. So that would include like a portrait. He includes index, which can be like a trace or an animal track, something that does have a strict and non-arbitrary relationship to the thing that made the mark. So like a handprint is going to have a very real relationship with me because it's the actual impression of my hand, and it shows that I was present at that time and in that place and all these sorts of things. But there is another tradition beyond, and other people, Umberto Eco have weighed in. There's Shebok, there are others who are in the sort of tradition of semiotics, but there's a whole angle of it. And the only people who dig it, who are cool enough to be aware of it, are up in the Baltic area. I think it's Tallinn, however the hell you say it, up in Estonia. They have a whole biosemiotics department. And it's very, very cool. I found a guy who apparently teaches there as a member of the faculty or something. This was years back. And he was talking about this dude, well, two dudes. One is Uxkul. So this is one of his works. There's also his theoretical biology, which oddly enough, it's about semiotics as well. This is one of these crappy reprints that you have to buy, these, print on demand ones, which is just horrifying because all it is a damn facsimile. You'd think they could do a better job with it, but they don't. So he was talking about Uxkul, whom everyone should know about. So I'm just putting his name out there. It's like zoo semiotics or biosemiotics. So instead of this anthropocentrism, you have people who have tackled the problem of signification and meaning from the perspective of all of life on Earth and nature. And that is a very interesting thing indeed, which brings me to this next guy. Now remember, I'm just filling space. You guys better be coming up with good questions in the background, because I just wanted to share this. It'd be a quick thing to talk about for those of the people who are a little bit more self-motivating and academic, who might want to dig up these titles. I know that there are plenty of you in the audience. I figured I'd mention these guys because it's very, very interesting stuff. Saussure takes a long time to get your head around unless you go, and I'll admit that's what I'm doing because his collective works are voluminous. But there are selections of his works related to semiotics. You can dig into it. It's a little, people who can deal with Kant or Hediger or Nietzsche or whatever can deal with Peirce, but it's a little bit more demanding than Saussure, which is very straightforward and cut and dry. Uxkul is very, very cool out there. But here's this other guy, this dude who had a blog post or something who's related to the biosemiotics program up in Tallinn. He mentioned this Swiss guy who ran a number of zoos named Heini Hediger. Yes, Heini Hediger. And so I picked up his works, the ones that I could find in English, because he was writing in German or Swiss German dialect or whatever. And so here are a couple of them. One of them you can't really read in the middle. It's entitled The Psychology of Animals in Zoos. And there's also this book here, Man and Animal in the Zoo. I think that was one that he sold quite a few more of in the United States. I think it was selling quite well once upon a time, probably back in that period just before or around the time that all the Desmond Morris stuff was becoming very, very popular. So these books are excellent. Wild Animals in Captivity is just fantastic. Man and Animal in the Zoo, Studies of the Psychology and Behavior of Animals, in Zoos and Circuses. So some of you will have heard me talking about this business of the three-ring circus and how animals are bound and trained using these rings. And it's only in this book that I discovered it. Let me see if I can even find a picture in here somewhere. He shows how they're trained. And when you go to a circus and you see, you know, like Barnum and Bailey's, you know, or Ringling Brothers or whatever, and they talk about it being a three-ring circus, they are that circle that is on the ground, which gives us this idea of circus, kuklos, circle, right? It's actually just the bottom edge. It's like a placeholder, a stand-in for an actual cage, which is much larger. He shows here people training tigers and lions and things, big cats with their training. But you can see that cage, which is quite tall, much higher, it goes up much higher because of how high these cats can leap. The base of it is circular. So what happens is you train and accustom these animals to understanding that there is a cage around them that they can't get around, and it's circular. And then what they do is when they carry them out to the public, they just lay that ring on the ground. And it's, you know, one ring to rule them all, one ring to bind them, one ring to bring them all, and in the circus bind them. Because the placeholder for a ring is sufficient because the training has been deep enough that that they never think to escape because they believe that there's a barrier there. These books are full of really great insights like this. In particular, insights about how animals behave in zoos, and also quite interesting how human beings behave with them, because there's also the way in which human beings behave with animals in many of these circumstances. And let me see if I can find the one picture of anthropomorphism. There's one he did with a stool with a little girl, which I really need to scan it and post it on Twitter because it's absolutely brilliant. The extent to which, the degree to which human beings are all wound up in these ideas of their own importance, out of all, by the way, out of all proportion with their actual importance. It's really embodied by this image. Let's see here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll take one last look here. I'll look in the index. Let's see if anthropomorphism 8597. Let's see. Should be here pretty early. We have our girl with the stool. Man, he's got tons of pictures of the way in which people who go to zoos abuse the animals, which is crazy. He's got all these photographs because people are like, instead of throwing them peanuts, they'll toss them things like nails and tacks and things. And I'm going somewhere, ladies and gentlemen, believe me, I've got a, there it is. Look at this picture. Oh my God, this picture is so striking. In fact, I want to scan it and make a print. Look at the way that this little girl is dragging this stool beside her as though she's holding its hand. He uses this as a really great illustration of the way in which we attempt to project human characteristics onto things in our environment. Really powerful image. But here's what's very, very interesting about all this, and then I'm going to wrap this little part because I'm giving you guys time to ask some great questions. He mentions in the course of his work this book that was written by mid-century Germans, and I can't even pronounce this because I'm not a German speaker. But here's the title. One of the primary editors is Zeiss. I later went and found this book. Not surprisingly, no one wanted to keep it. It was in libraries before that mid-century transition, and then it got chucked. It's also on quite crappy paper, doubtless because of the war years. You know, this bad foxing lignin in the paper. But what's really interesting in here is there's one article, and that's what's cited by Heini Hediger. It's by this guy, Nachtsheim. And it's Gefangenschaftveränderungen beim Tier. Parallel Erscheinungen zu den Zivilisationsschaden am Menschen. And anyone who speaks German is probably just laughing their asses off, but you can see it here in the, whoops, which way do I go without knocking over my chocolate milk? It's there, it's the first item up here under 1, right? I am hoping that someone who speaks German will translate just this part of it for me, this one. It's the very beginning of the book, because Hediger mentions it. It's a mid-century German idea. And I'm no big fan of black wool uniforms and goose stepping and all of that. Everybody who's followed this channel for any time knows that, like, I'm not a big, you know, mach schnell kind of person. Verboten! However, Hediger brings this up, and it's very, very interesting to me, because he basically asserts this idea, and it's the first place I found that it was set forth. And that is that if you take a look at wild animals, when they're domesticated, they undergo certain changes. And in fact, you can find on YouTube, there's a documentary that made its way on, and you can find it. I don't know what it's under, but you should be able to find it. It's about line breeding, I think, of silver foxes. And on one side, they try to tame and make them docile. And on the other side, they're attempting to breed for aggressiveness and wild behaviors. And you can see these enormous differences after these generations of breeding them in these respective directions. And so they can show that these foxes are basically becoming, if I remember correctly, go watch the damn video. But the idea is that as they become domesticated, you see the domed cranium protrude. They begin to maintain infantile characteristics. They're less aggressive. Some things change about how they mate and with whom they're willing to mate. And they start to form blazes as well. You'll see spots and things appear. So basically the idea is that wild animals, when they're domesticated, they lose certain characteristics. So, you know, there are features that a domesticated animal has that's a wild animal, like a wolf or an auroch, doesn't have. And to a considerable extent, it can be argued that they become weaker, because without, and this holds up today, that's not just something that the NSDAP would be saying. You know, for example, domesticated cows out in the wild are not going to do as well as wild cattle, one would argue. And I think there's a case to be made for it, right? Because in the course of domestication, these animals have cut a deal with mankind, and they rely upon mankind to keep them safe and only cull a certain number of them. Now, we've broken our deal with animals some time back. We grind up their own bones and meat and spray it back to them as a bloody pulp that they devour, you know, and they get mad cow disease. Leaving all that kind of nonsense aside, once upon a time, domestication was a deal we made with the animals, and it was a win-win for everyone, as they say. However, in being domesticated, the animals lose certain abilities and certain, I guess, let's say, viability in the wild. Anyway, the point with this, the interesting books by Hediger that I wanted to point out, this old mid-century German book that that he mentions, that I picked up, and that one article at the beginning, they make the argument that that man's civilization is itself a form of domestication, and that it carries with it the same problems that domestication for animals does. And I think that's a very interesting path to explore. I seem to recall that these basic ideas, not from a scientific or biological perspective, but from a philosophical perspective, if I'm remembering correctly, Nietzsche raises a number of these points himself. But I'd be really interested to see what's in this little old book there. So yeah, that's something for me to mention in terms of these books and all the rest. So let's go back, peoples, and see whether or not we have any good questions, or if indeed we have anything at all. Again, this is just a chill out stream. Just a chill out stream. I'm going to start doing like Frody does on his shows lately. He repeats himself all the time. He repeats himself all the time. He repeats himself all the time. Okay, here's one from Steve. What is my honest assessment of Jason Kona's book? The one that I'm really interested, I haven't read yet, which is Go Free, which actually is a part of my research for the strategy stuff. I'm, in fact, going to be ordering here shortly. It's a good thing, actually, you reminded me. So, yeah, that's the one I'm really interested in at this point. I have not yet read. All right. Judge Caligula Bushman says, Nasılsın abi? Çift B kullandım. You have two B's there, dude. There's only supposed to be one for abi. Yeah, and nasılsın would be with the instead of the I, but iyiyim, çok iyiyim, teşekkür ederim. Yani şikayet etmiyorum, hayat devam ediyor, nefes alıyorum, çok kötü değilim. Siz beyefendi? All right, so we'll jump past this. Clausewitz, 1571, says, what do you think of Charles Sanders Peirce? I dig him so far, but I'm only now beginning to properly go through his stuff. Like I had read any number of people, you know, like Peirce for Dummies, or, you know, a book on semiotics that has a chapter on Peirce and all the rest. Now I'm going into his material properly. So get back to me on that. It's actually one of the books I'm reading right now. Yeah, among others. All right. King Salmonfish says, do you think the pipeline hack was really the Russians or perhaps Biden? I don't know who did it. I can't imagine Russians would. I just don't see it. The whole thing with the what is it? The hell's the damn name of it? It starts with a C. Whatever that damn pipeline is for the East Coast or Southeast. It's Colonial, maybe I want to say. Who knows? It puts me in mind of the business with the Deepwater Horizon, where Halliburton just had an accident, you know, and it just happened to shut down all energy production in the Gulf of Mexico, as well as sort of destroying the coastline there and the Gulf itself, arguably for quite some time, if we're still not dealing with it. I always feel kind of weird still today eating any shrimp out of the Gulf. I'm like, I love shrimp, I'll do it, but I'm probably going to die in a week. These people have absolutely no shame. They're absolutely vile. They're perfectly willing to destroy whatever it is that they need to in order to refill their coffers. And if you think about it, you know, the energy prices were very, very low, not only because of the United States being a net producer, so all that money wasn't going to these other countries and the people involved in shipping and the rest. It also got the guts kicked out of it because of the pandemic. So as many of you know, you will have heard that there were people who actually had to pay to have their petrol stored. So, you know, it wasn't just like waiting to make money. It was actually costing them money simply to have it because no one was buying it. And so what happens when you, first off, remove the energy self-sufficiency of the United States, and then you add this business with the pipeline going down, you jam up energy prices. And so all these energy companies get to fill their coffers again. And guess who's primarily paying for it? Well, of course, you and me. So yeah, this business with the pipeline and the hack, I doubt it's Russians. We all know very well that any sort of operator with reasonable resources could have done the hack. And, you know, I guess at a state level actor, but, you know, it could also be agencies that operate with autonomy, sub rosa. All those folks can make it look like it's someone else. So yeah, I don't know. All I'm, you know, is if you ask the question of cui bono, I think it's the energy companies, and you tend to make the public here in the United States feel more harried, more bitter, more as though things are going out of control. So who knows? John Ski in the house. Howdy, sir. Yes, I think these are Culver glasses, Dagbreaker asks. Let me just double check. These are the ultimate glass. Man, they have so many different kinds. Is that right? Yes, they are. That's it. Culver glasses. Antique, mid-century, and modern designs from the world's best dealers. Man, there's so many these glasses, man. Allow me to just share this for a moment with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's so cool. I love these things. I want more of them. The problem is I can't drink out of them all at once, so it's kind of, yeah, there's a problem there. Get over here. Which one? Here we go. Look at this. Let me just get this here. Yeah, look at this. Here we are. Sure. Look at these. Look at all these types of glasses. These are kind of, I think these are the ones I have, right? Valencia pattern. Yeah. Look at the Valencia pattern. That's what I've got. Although it is a little weird that the green's in there. It's faded quite a bit. But so many of them are stylish. I mean, here, look at these. Look at these. Come on, man. Look at these. Look at these bad boys here. What is this? I didn't want to go to the damn page. I just wanted the image. Sorry, peoples. Oh, it's because it's how it's linked. Now look at these damn things. They're just so many types. They're all so cool. Who would not want these? And who would be on here talking about granny glasses? Don't just kiss my ass. Kiss all my ass. These aren't granny glasses. This is style. These are not, this is not a dead style, but a deathless one. I have these two, actually. I have this set here. All right, sorry. Entirely unnecessary. Let's go back to where we were. All right, questions. Gamerspace says, what do I think about the letter from the French generals? You know, I don't know what to make of that. I saw the, I saw that there was a first one that came out, and then with, I was watching Academic Agent, check out his channel, and he had his guests on for Unpopular Opinions, and I think he was reading a translation of the second one, if I'm not mistaken. And they definitely upped the tone and were throwing some pretty serious attitude. But I have since seen, I can't remember what the source was, I think it was maybe a Turkish news source, was reporting that apparently the military is going to try to come down on those guys and have them removed. As I understood, the second letter, at least, I haven't been following it closely, but I seem to recall that it was anonymous. And so I have to wonder, you know, I guess they can find them if they want to. You know, it's not like any of us have any kind of privacy at all anymore. But yeah, it looks like there may well be some backlash on that. So we're just going to have to wait and see. I've been riding the tiger, and I haven't been, you know, paying much attention these days. Also, I'm getting ready to sell my house. I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm going to a low population area. I'm getting out of Dodge. And as soon as possible. So you may well see that, you know, my postings for a little while are going to be more intermittent, because if I can get this thing sold, I'm going to have to move quickly. I'm going to have a lot of packing to do. I'm going to have to get things into storage, and then, you know, hopefully take my ill-gotten gains and find a new piece of property. So during that time, might be a little bit on again, off again. So let's see here. One from the main. Semigog, what do you think of the managerial elite or managers as the class that is the ruling elite? You know, I've heard lots of talk about that, obviously, through AA's channel. Who is it? Burnham, I want to say, is the guy who's big for that. I haven't read his work yet. So, I mean, everything I've heard makes perfect sense. And I think I just saw a tweet where you came in and were... you just sort of dangled your ball sack on somebody's forehead, who had got it backwards. I can't remember what it was you were saying, but basically they got it backwards. They were saying that the capitalism does something with the elites, and you're like, no, the elites. Yeah, so basically I agree with all of it. Sorry, this is an inside discussion since a lot of the viewers won't know about that exchange. But I haven't read Burnham yet. I do have the, what's it called, that one, The Machiavellians? After AA was talking about it, I have it by my bedside. It's another one I'm going to have to, yeah. It's coming up soon. Luis Clarizio said, are we allowed to say Heidegger on YouTube? Yeah, you can, but in my case, I was talking about Heini Hediger. Different. All right, where are we now? What an odd question. What do you think about referring to capital in the capitalist sense as a proper noun? Proper noun, you mean like somebody's name, and hence it needs to be capitalized? I mean, you know, it's, I mean, it's, the meaning does not overlap entirely, but it's like saying, you know, should money be a proper noun and always be capitalized? I don't know. I haven't given it any thought. I imagine probably you have something in mind, some context or association with leftist word games there that are being employed. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You tell me, man. You tell me, boss. Programmer dudes. Okay. Yeah, that's another thing coming up in a bit. We don't have a date on it yet because I have to corral these various cats, but we're going to have an interesting discussion regarding programming and as it stands and how programmers think. And I believe I believe Charlemagne will be a participant in that discussion, God willing. Here's another one. Charlemagne's just throwing them out there. Yeah, I saw this was going around recently too, with left wing and right wing, the dichotomy of capitalism and socialism. The so-called dichotomy of capitalism and socialism, I don't really care one way or another. It's not really of interest to me. I don't see it as being, like if you replaced, if you just put private property there and you said you either have it or you don't, that would be meaningful to me. In terms of left and right wing, that's highly arbitrary, highly conventional, subject to all kinds of distortions, and it's very difficult to establish shared definition with it. So it suffers from a number of weaknesses. The problem is everybody uses it, including me, and so I guess we're just cursed for the foreseeable future with the vagueness associated with the use of such imprecise terminology. All right. Well, here's one from King Samanfish. Says, is Biden an idiot, a villain, or an idiotic villain? Also, do you believe Trump stands a chance to win if he runs again with all the cheating? I'm going to stay out of the any remarks about Trump at this point, because all that will happen is the whole bleachers will, everyone will rise up to their feet and begin to throw like cabbages and rotten tomatoes at me. As for Biden being an idiot, a villain, or an idiotic villain, yeah, I tend to think that we're dealing with the last of those, that he's an idiotic villain. As I recently tweeted, everybody who says, don't attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence or ineptitude, they suffer from a misunderstanding, which is that those things are not mutually exclusive. So yeah, I tend to think that Biden is an imbecile and very evil. But really, in the case of Biden, what matters most is the people behind the scenes with their fingers on the puppet strings. Semiyog, is that girl's projection onto the chair somewhat Pavlovian, or just a result of her natural imprinting? Well, I think the point is that, well, look at women and dolls of babies, young girls and baby dolls. We see that throughout history and in many cultures. So Pavlovian is about what? Operant conditioning, or conditioned responses versus unconditioned responses. And since what most people know about Pavlov and his dog is the bell, and causing the dog to drool when the bell is rung, that's conditioning a response. So if I understand you correctly, I don't think that she was trained to treat the chair as though, or stool or whatever it was, as though it was a little friend. I think the whole point is that it's a result of nature rather than nurture, and that we project in that way. Oh, now this is interesting. What's this? Have you ever read Regeln für den Menschenpark, Rules for the Human Zoo by Peter, something, Sloterdijk? I can't pronounce that. No, I haven't, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. What is this? Regeln für den Menschenpark, Sloterdijk. All right, I've got it pulled up on Amazon so that I don't forget it. Sorry, I don't know it, but I will have a look, and thank you. Let's see here. Wow, we got a lot of new people in the house. So people are, yeah. Normally my live streams are not this winding. This is a chill stream. This is just talking nonsense. Normally I have my act together better, ladies and gentlemen. All right, at least a little bit better. All right, damn it, I'm way behind now. All right, I think I caught up. I found John Gorst talking about cats going feral quickly. There we are. Or maybe oh God. Somehow I opened up to print this screen. I'm a dumbass. All right, there we are. Yes, I'm back in the right spot. Sorry, I'm looking for good questions, ladies and gentlemen. Bear with me. We domesticated the world, or at least we tried to. Z from Louis the 17th. Wow, all the spelling's so bad, man. Well, evet is well spelled, but it's Türkçe bilmiyorum. Türkçe bilmiyorum. Bilmiyorum. Oh, it's like you're... I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know what's going on with that. It's like trying to spell it phonetically with English letters. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, what the hell is happening around me? All right. Oh, you did not, John Goris. You did not. Man, I'm going to ban you. You better not be making fun of these. You better not be making fun of these. Oh. Let's see. What else do we have here? Vive la France. Vive la France. Vive la France. Vive la France. Vive la France. There we are. I can't speak that Frenchy stuff. I don't know what's going on back here in the background with you guys, but things are getting out of hand. All right. Ah, Charlemagne has a big pee-pee for Burnham. I'll have to read it. John Ski, any chance to get autographed copies of your 2 books? Well, yeah, for you, man. I'll tell you what. I'll trade you autographed copies of my 2 books if you'll come off with some of them spam cams 7.62 by 54R you have, since I can't get it anymore. I just had to buy 4 boxes of 20 rounds each of some what I thought was Wolf, and then the bastard sent me Red Army or whatever. So yeah, we'll work something out, Mr. Steve, a fine gentleman, Mr. John Steve. Mad Merc in the house. Hello, sir. What else do we have going on here? Judge Caligula says arkadaşlarım Türk. Yeah, Türk arkadaşlarım var. You should say. All right. Semigod, let's see here. This is from Travis Blaze. Hello, sir. Why do you and Tim think the Chinese are running out or have run out of money and will collapse? Are they only appearing to be strong and stable when weak and fractious? Tim has talked about this many times. He knows, or he has a stronger opinion about this, I should say, than I do, because I'm just not knowledgeable enough. But the Chinese just had the shit hammered out of them for 4 years. And basically the way I see it, so I can't speak for Tim, go back and look at some of, oh, that's another thing I should mention. Much of my content has been taken down. I took it down because I just got a hate speech, a video taken down for quote unquote hate speech on YouTube that's from 2018. One called The Right Woman. And I just don't need people, trawling back through all my old content to find things to get me in trouble for. So I pulled the vast majority of the channel content on YouTube is now gone. So if you want to see it, it's still out there, but you're going to have to go over to Odyssey or BitChute to see it. It's all over there. No one seems to want to go over to Odyssey and subscribe. It's a great platform, seems to work just fine. Certainly works a lot better than BitChute in many respects. It's also over on BitChute because I don't want to take anything away from them. They're the original alternative. They have an option that's out there. If you want to see the old stuff by Tim, and there's lots of it, it's over on BitChute. And remember, there's more here that I haven't even taken down yet. That's over on a safer space, because I had that channel running for a while. So all that stuff is out there. Go back and look for it there. Just a heads up, a ton of the content of the back catalog, as it were, has been taken down on YouTube. So anyway, if you want to see what Tim's ideas are on it, go back and watch it. But the basic idea, I think, is this. It's certainly my idea. China was able to get to the position that it did, that it currently occupies, because it's been like a remora stuck on the bottom of our shark belly. And they have, for quite some time, enjoyed sucking us dry one way or another, or having us invest in building out their manufacturing infrastructure and all sorts of other things. So basically, they have, it's kind of like the thing of a guerrilla army taking the weapons from the army of occupation. You know, they simultaneously get something for themselves for more or less free, and at the same time, they degrade the capability and exhaust the resources of those who attempt to occupy them. That's the kind of approach that has been taken by the Chinese over decades. Now, nobody talks about it that way, but it is my view that it's self-evident. Basically, they have been parasites that have been making themselves strong by sucking our blood. Now, they just had a 4-year period where they were not able to do that as well, and serious pressure was getting put on them, which is why they pulled out all the stops in many respects. Not them alone, mind you, not them alone, working with others who also pulled out all their stops in order to get themselves involved in our recent fortification exercise because of desperation. And one of the things that I can say that Tim does set forth that I can be pretty certain he would not dispute with me is his view that it's a false unity there. You know, if somebody's always trying to tell you, oh, I'm telling you the truth, man, just to be honest with you, yeah, to be frank, man, yeah, I'm always honest with you. If someone is constantly telling you over and over and over again how honest they are, or they say, trust me, like every fifth word, you're kind of like, well, maybe I shouldn't. Well, look to Chinese history. The central myth that motivates them is uniting all under heaven. And what is their origin story for what they have to confront? It's the Warring States period. Back, well, I don't know, something in the neighborhood of 400 BC. I'm going to embarrass myself since Apostolic Majesty, the wolf, the mentat of history is in the house. But it's somewhere the 3rd, 4th, I think it's 4th century BC. Anyway, for a people and a place to harp upon the idea of coming out of the origins of warring states and constantly over a period of millennia, almost millennia, certainly centuries, to keep hammering on the idea of uniting under heaven, that should tell you that maybe the last thing that they are is united. So I think that's another factor. So the one thing is that they had their wealth and their resources, you know, which they had been siphoning off of us or sucking with their mosquito proboscis for quite some time. That got cut off for a bit, and to some extent under Trump, which put them in a real problem because they were stretched thin with trying to get their various projects going to try to rush for the finish line. They have since been able to attach their proboscis again under Biden in certain respects, but they've got 4 years of making up for it to deal with. And all the things that I'm talking about don't bear directly upon the fundamental fact that they are not as united as they seem. So I think that's part of, to answer your question, you know, when you talk about running out of money and the threat of collapse, that they, you know, are not really strong and stable. That's some of the thinking behind it. Sorry. Let's see here. We got one from Charlemagne. Keith Woods and Distributist used it in this way on their stream, referring to capital as if it is an entity in and of itself. I don't follow Keith Woods much. I see a few tweets come through. I've seen him back in the past. He's certainly very bright, got a high verbal IQ. Likes to read, promising future, I'd reckon. A lot of things I disagree with him about. You know, I've had a little bit of stuff with him in the past. Distributist, I don't watch much of. I've seen now, I think, maybe 3 or 4 of his clips. So I don't know how they're... I don't know enough about their take to comment on the part about capital, but I do have to ask, how is it that you would know that they were capitalizing capital if they were speaking rather than writing? That might be a special power that Charlemagne has. Mad Merc says, Semigog, thoughts on Ukraine? Personally, I don't think it will be an independent state by the end of 2023 to 2025. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. It's weird because I'm reading about the what's called the Circassian genocide, and I know a fair amount about the Caucasus, and you've probably heard me talk before about some of the stuff with Transnistria and Crimea, and particularly Abkhazia, and then recently with Armenia and Azerbaijan, and the business of the Turks now saying that they're going to cooperate with the Ukrainians. I just don't see Russia. I just don't see Russia letting that whole thing peel loose. And I still think that the Russians have enough tricks up their sleeves that, you know, even Biden and the EU working together on that, and Soros types, you know, piling the money up on top of it. Russians aren't as powerful as a lot of people think, but they're nevertheless still quite formidable. I heard recently also they just launched a badass new submarine type class, I should say, that's got us all running around looking for ways to come up with special hunters just to find these. Apparently they're single walled hulls, and yeah, interesting. So yeah, I don't we'll see. I think so many different things are going to burst at the seams before we get to just the idea of whether or not Ukraine becomes independent. And I tend to think that the more distractions that happen that cause the United States to turn inward and engage primarily in a bunch of navel gazing, if not, its own low intensity civil conflict, other people are going to be able to get away with things in the background. And I'd keep an eye on Russia. They are formidable. I'm not one of the people who thinks that Russians are just our friends at all. I don't think that while Putin is strong, I don't think that and capable, I don't think he's got his fist as tightly around Russia as many people imagine. It's a touch and go thing at times. I think he'll be able to maintain that control, no doubt. Yeah, likewise, I don't think that that we shouldn't be friends with Russia if we can. But the issue of China and that tripartite system has got to be sorted out first, and that I think is what's going to be happening. And yeah, so in the midst of all the other craziness that's going on, I could see somebody maybe trying to make a dash to peel Ukraine off. I mean, to some extent, you can probably explain what's been going on already as sort of like that. But yeah, I'm not counting Russia out of anything. They remain formidable and cunning. This from John Ski. What's this? What would nationalizing the police give the left except getting the country much closer to civil war? Well, from the perspective of quote unquote the left and nationalizing the police, whatever civil disturbance it created, they could just chalk that up as the table stakes, the price of entry for consolidation of power. At the end of the day, a national police force, I mean, there you go. I mean, they've got a lot of it already, but essentially that would be a major wedge driven into the whole idea of federalism and states' rights, which is already almost, it's more than half shattered. So yeah, it would be unifying all under heaven. Odd that we see that same theme echoed. Oh hell, what happened now? This damn thing jumped off where I was. Dang it. Oh, I hate when this happens. I always feel like such an incompetent boomer. There we are. John Gore says Biden's just an old grifter. He's worse. He's an old grifter in diapers who does what he does with children. I'm sorry. A lot of people are like, oh, that boy. In this one clip, they're like, oh, it was his grandson. I'm like, I had granddads. They didn't caress my head like that. Ugh. Ugh. Ooh. Ooh. Ooh. Yeah. Ugh. Just seeing Biden. Ugh. Makes me sick. All right. I don't know what's this random shit. What the hell does this mean? Do you know the Muffin Man? No, I don't. But I wish I did know the Muffin Man. Wouldn't that be great? God, I'm getting trolled here. I'm not even gonna answer that. Red Army is trash. I feel sorry for you. Is it? I mean, it's steel case ammunition or whatever. Does anybody know, actually? Because a friend of mine was telling me, actually, Wolf is not bad. All things considered, Wolf is pretty reliable and high quality. Are you guys telling me? I want to hear from other people in the chat who know about this. Should I be raising hell? I mean, I should be happy that the damn ammunition came. I ordered 380 13 weeks ago, and it still hasn't come. Yeah, so is Red Army really that much worse than Wolf? Please let me know. Charlemagne says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how glowing is White Boy Summer, with 10 being most glowing? It's somewhere between an 8 and a 10, I'd say. Because has anybody really determined where that started? Because that seems like it's screaming for people to come along and misinterpret and misrepresent, and they can just sort of stick their hand up the ass of a sock puppet. Hey there, Fiend J says, doing my shilling for compound words. They're great for cutting through bullshit. Compare English property to Norwegian eigendom. Translates directly to own judgment. Yeah, compound words can be very, very cool. Now, allow me to jump in here, because eigen, I know that's from einzige, what's the deal? I'm going to have a problem trying to deal with anything Germanic in the house. Let me look in Mark Stirner's book. That's where I know eigen, because it can mean ego as well as own. Where is it? What is this book by Mark Stirner? Der einzige Unsinn Eigentum. Yeah, so yeah, it can mean own and property, or the only one. Yeah, interesting shades of meaning. However, the dom is very interesting, because there are two, or there are a number of different channels here with it. You've got, on the one hand, domus, which gives you the idea of house, going back to Indo-European roots. And I've heard a bunch of these linguists, historical linguists, comparative linguists, come in and pshaw me and poo-poo me. But I do see a clear constellation, and some of them might be conflation down the line, but a clear constellation with domus, domain, dominion. They're like dominator, dominatrix, that's just masculine and feminine versions of the Latin. There's domain, or it looks like it's if you were to pronounce it, just I don't know how you say it in French, but I think it's domain, but it looks like it's demesne. Yeah, and dominion, I think I already talked about that. But then there's also the suffix like kingdom, thraldom. However, there's Latin, damnato, damnare, like damnato ad metallum, to damn them to the mines, but damnato ad metallum would be abbreviated and cut on the forehead of a slave, and it would be D-A-M, damn. And that ties to, because that's to consign. And look at the word consign itself, consignum, consign, to make your executive or judicial judgment manifest in the form of a mark, to consign. And we have to damn them to the mines, but then they put a mark on their heads. Or think about the V, as I often talk about, burned in the thumb of a vagabond, or the M, like in the Peter Lorre film where they write it on the back of his jacket, but you have M for malefactor, right? Or you crop an ear, right? Or slit a nostril on a thief, right? Just like earmarks on sheep, right? Those things are tied to dom, which goes with judgment. And here's the part I'll give you for free on this. It ties over to deem and doom. And so eigendom, you got the idea of judgment, and we have that with deem, like I deemed it to be the case, but it also goes with doom. Not just to doom someone to a particular thing, but also the business, like with the Doomsday Book, Domesday Book or whatever, of William, what's that, 1086? Which is the measuring and weighing and assessment of everything, which also has its own idea of property marks and the rest. So there's this fascinating constellation etymologically. And if only there were some linguists who weren't pussies, who weren't castrated leftists, I would love to work with them, because I can sort out these details, because they're right, they know about metathesis and the rest, or if there was some consonant shift or some change with the vowels and the rest, and they can read their IPA and everything. I'd love to work with some of them, but so many of them are just horrific. Ugh. They resist any kind of, they accept only lateral thinking. They don't accept any kind of thinking that drives something forward into a new area. And I'm all for skepticism and the rest. But anyway, okay, sorry. That was a long excursus. Fiend J, I like your Norwegian eigendom. Yes. Ha en tweelig kväll. I think that's Swedish, isn't it? Then the Danish way, they talk like they got a potato in their mouth. It was all the Danish talk. Hey, what do we got here from John Steve? What's this? Mike can work out a swap for some 7.62 by 54R ammo. I have some Russian-made match ammo as well. Nice. Somehow I thought you probably have a larder full of 7.62 by 39 and 7.62 by 54R. I don't know. I had this sneaking feeling. I had this feeling. The Mad Mercenary, it's something that goes on with people when they live down underneath everything, when they're way down at the other end. When they see a different sky than the one I do, they ask questions like this one. I have no idea what he's talking about. Disavow completely. Oh, but I do want to promote his channel. Mad Merc does stuff. Also, Radlib does stuff. They both have channels, if I'm not mistaken. Mad Merc, you have a channel of your own, right? It's not just that you appear with Radlib. It's just so often I see you appear with Radlib. Hopefully I've got that right. Check both of them out. Both of them talk about economics. But they also, Mad Merc in particular talks about geopolitics and strategy. So I am happy to plug him as well. Now see, here is a man of taste and distinction. This is Travis Blaze. I'm on Odyssey and subscribe to your channel. Nice. Only the best are on BitChute and Odyssey as well. All right. I don't know what the hell this means. I like the name Goddamn Infantry, though. Yeah. What is this? Very cool stream. Any others who have a humble collection of the funny green internet frog? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Mr. Fed. I don't know. What is this? Oh man, that's a Slavic. Is that Polish last name? I can never. What's the CZ? Will somebody tell me what the CZ sound is? So I'm not going to pronounce your last name because I do not want to butcher it. The problem, Oliver, is that none of the alternative video platforms can be watched on a TV, and no one outside of a prison cell wants to watch 1 or 2 hour streams or videos on a 3x5 rectangle. Yeah, but I will say this. I mean, when I watch stuff, generally speaking, I don't watch it on my telephone. I hate telephones. I try not to have any features or anything. I use an iPad. So for me, it's, yeah. So, yeah. I don't understand you people who use phones for things. The phone thing, this, I want to do 2 things with this. I want to get messages on it and receive telephone calls, like old-fashioned telephone calls. I don't want to FaceTime. Everybody can fuck off with their FaceTime. Everybody can fuck off with using a web browser on their phone. I hate it. I'm an old man now. I don't care. I want to walk away from my computer here at some point. But I don't know what's going on here. What the hell is going on here? None of this makes any sense to me. Oh, but let me go ahead and address. I'm sorry, Eric J. Can't you, on an Apple, can't you use Apple TV and mirror it to a television set? And can't you mirror from one of your phones? Now, I don't know with Androids or whatever, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to, I wish I had a solution, but I'm so technologically inept. Apostolic, apoliptic, yes. Majesty is a beast. Yeah, he's totally, man. What a dragon. Ambrose the Thinker. Have you read the Penguin Atlas history books by Colin McEvedy? I think they're pretty good because they have maps on every other page with good explanations. I don't know. Let's see, ladies and gentlemen, what historical atlases I have. There's too many to carry. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. I have 28 historical atlases, and several of them are penguins. So yeah, I like them. Sorry, I wanted to carry them over and show them to you, but see, I was being all smart. He's like, no, I do have an iPad. The casting drops out regularly. Yeah, I wish. I don't know what to tell you, brother. I wish there were some way around it. I don't know. Ask someone like Charlemagne. Ask one of these young people who have their whole life ahead of them, who aren't, withered up husks of themselves as I am, perhaps one of these youngsters can direct you in the right direction. But you are correct. The problem with Google and YouTube and the rest of them is that their products do well, they work to whatever extent they want to let them work. And if they wanted them to work well, they could do much better indeed. So yeah, that's a problem. That's the evil empire. Travis Blaze asks, Semiagog, what are your thoughts on CNN viewership dropping another 60% down to only 900,000 viewers during prime time? The sooner that they just swirl their way down the toilet, the better. To hell with all of them. What's going on here? Do we have some Russian going on in the background? Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and put a call out because I'm working on this. I'm almost done. Many of you know this. I'm working on translating this. You can see my little red marks for where I am in the text. This is a Circassian text, or a text written in Ottoman by a Circassian who traveled to the Caucasus in 1864, right after the final aspects of Russian conquest there. And then this was published in the 1890s at the Bulak Press in Cairo. It's a really awesome source of Circassian lore because it's not written by the conquerors, the Russians. It's written by a Mamluk, Zeduk, Circassian, who was in Egyptian service. I'm almost done translating it to English. I need to find some Russian speakers because, number one, I need good ones who are capable of academic writing. I want to translate it into Russian and release a volume that has Russian, has the original Ottoman, the English translation, Russian translation, and updated version of the Ottoman that's in the modern Turkish text. And then I'm going to have an introduction on it. So I need Russian speakers, writers, academics to help me with that. But I'm trying to get someone, and damn, Otto Pol won't do it. I keep telling him to do it. There is a guy, a Circassian writer named Khan Girai, who was writing in the 19th century, and somebody needs to translate his shit from Russian into English. Must be done. So Russians, please get in touch with me. Also, by the way, I'm going to be doing a stream coming up on May 21st, the Circassian Day of Mourning. And that will be with Otto Pol, and we will be talking about the Circassians. So what do we got here from Charles Charlemagne. This capital proper case thing is a thing from righties in general, not specific to either of the people I mentioned. I see. In which case, I have no idea, man. I don't understand. And to be honest with you, most people can't speak English for shit. They can't write it. It's even worse. If I have to hear someone else say impactful or morph, oh my God. I used to have an Amiga 500. I remember when that shitty word morph appeared for a specific function in 3D modeling programs and 3D animation. It's when one 3D shape turns into another 3D shape. They call it morph. And suddenly everybody and their brother, just like the little ignorant field hands that they are, like all the ones in the world of the corporate landia, they all want to find like new ways to say things that add like 5 syllables so that they can sound important. You know, they all started to say morph because it sounded so much fancier than change. It morphed into such and such. Oh, did you mean change? That it changed into something else? No, I meant it morphed. It morphed. If I have to hear morph, I'm sorry, the spittle is flying, but I can't take it. Morph, and impactful. Sorry. Sorry, people. This whole thing, the English language is in shit condition. All right, sorry, I'm going to pour myself a little bit more chocolate milk. We're going to come back to this. I'm going to try to control myself. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Whoa. Where are we? So, yeah, Charlemagne, I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to tell you, brother. You're clearly capable of dealing with those people yourself. you're going to have to figure it out, man. And when you do figure it out, please come back and tell me, because you know what happens. All you younger people are, you exist to come and tell me. You exist to come and tell me what's actually going on, because I never know. My obsolescence lurks just over the horizon. I'm about to be useless and nothing. Happily, though, I will enjoy my obsolescence out in the woods somewhere, away from this evil hive of the city. Okay. Well, what are we moving on to next here? Adrian Descent says, Semigog, it seems central banks are deliberately crashing the world economy. Any thoughts on how this may play out for us, please? Yeah, I think they are doing it. They've done it in the past, and they will use it as the, well, here's a poem that goes with that. Where did I put it? This is a poem from my collection of poems. You'll get it for free, peoples, if I can find it. These are my thoughts on that. Damn it. Let me just look it up. Men don't want to read the instruction manual, especially before working on a motorcycle. Nor do they wish to look in the table of contents. These are my thoughts on that. War, unleashed in times of change, a necessary concomitant of productive disintegration. Only the poor conspire. The rich simply make plans. Before the remaking they blow, flutes only dogs can hear. And when howling skies deliver the reply, bones, buildings, and bloodlines ride the shudder-shattering waves of progress. Those are my thoughts on that, because I know nothing about economics. I'm terrible, man. AA's channel is good for economics. And another one, the ones I just mentioned, Mad Merc and Radlib are ones to talk to about that. Just be careful. Don't ask them for economic advice. Or financial advice, I should say. So yeah, Adrian Descent, or however, I'm doubtless mispronouncing your name because it sounds like it's fundamentally a French name and I can't pronounce anything in French. I'm sorry, I cannot be of more use. All right. Uh-oh. Pat Smith's having camera issues. Should I help you with this? Let's see what I can do here to help you. How are we going to set this up? It's tilted, yes. How's that? Okay, all I can tell you is that currently the camera is more or less level. So what's happened is my house is tilted. So I don't know what to do for the rest of it. Well, now Charlemagne's talking about this capital business. I mean, you get what you pay for. If you're dealing with Marx and trying to do things, you know, based on what the hell direction am I supposed to go now? Based on anything, your mileage may vary. That's not my fault. I don't have anything to do with that capital. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you here. Generally, I would recommend that anybody male should be looking at a blonde rather than me. But in this case, the blonde is married and has a kid now, which means you shouldn't be thinking about her that way. So yeah, I guess it depends on the quality of the stream. And while I have watched some of Blonde in the Belly of the Beast's content, I have not watched any of her co-streams with that guy, Matt. GSP is talking about Russia developing its air defenses. Yes, they did watch NATO bomb Serbia forever. Yeah, they did. Oddly enough, that bombing of Serbia was where Stratfor first appeared and made a name for themselves because of their knowledge of the maps related to the Chinese embassy that was bombed. Odd that. Mold Buggy and MK Ultra Victim says thoughts on the Wignac question. I don't. What is the Wignac question? I don't know what that means. Oh, hey, we got an answer. I just have to scroll down far enough. Red Army is okay, just dirty, leaves a bit more residue. Okay, fair enough. And from what I've heard, even the ones who say that they're burden primers or Burdan or whatever, and that they're non-corrosive, that just means they're less corrosive, right? I think I've heard that the burn-in primers are they're still corrosive. I mean, so you have to clean them out, but Yeah, somebody told me about that as well. Because the oldest firearm I have, well, I mean, the oldest firearm I have that would ever be used. Well, no, that's not true, because I have that. Yeah, that is a different. Whoa, hey. I just got an email from Tim saying, I was basically saying, I'm checking in on you. You're in my thoughts. Are you doing well? And the rest. He didn't let me know how he was doing. He is as laconic as he always is. It just says, thank you. That means a lot. So he's still alive. He's not answering at length, but he does get email and respond, which means he is not dead. That is awesome. So yeah, somebody let me know about Burdam primers. They're always trying to get me to do this Arnold shit. Semiotics, what is bad in life? I don't know, but I'd ask Conan, what is good in life? Conan, tell me, what is good in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women's. All right. Oh, hey, who knew? All right. Steve says, Semiotics, what site or podcast is your go-to for geopolitical issues? I try to read national interests and I listen to Caspian Report. I don't have a go-to site. I listen to Caspian Report. And Caspian Report is all right if you just want like really kind of meh takes on everything. And to be fair, they will cover things that maybe you won't see in normal Western media or whatever. Like they had some stuff about the Grand Renaissance Dam and strategies with China and water. And there are some interesting things that they look at. So I'm not casting aspersions on them. But I think that they have, I think that their piece of toast is buttered on one side and they know it. They don't make a big deal out of showing it, but don't think that they're an unbiased source. But I do watch them. I watch China Uncensored. I watch, like you say, Caspian Report. I'll even look at some of the leftist stuff that'll come through on the Gray Zone. But I'm much more like, I also look at Defense Updates, which is just sort of a cheesy, I think India runs it, but it's about, new military technology. And it's always got this same dorky narrator reading from a script that someone presented in. So I've watched a number of things like that, but to be honest with you, I instead will go looking for places where I think something is likely to happen, or if I see an indication of something happening, and then I search more. To be honest, I use Google News, and then I go straight to the web, and I use YouTube. So, I mean, I don't really have one channel. There is no go-to because you have to cross-reference the various things. God, man, Charlemagne says I'm the word guy. I'm not the word guy. that's like, yes, I like words, but only insofar as they reflect concepts, and the words leave the traces or trails of the conceptual things that interest me. It's just like AA has this whole idea that I'm just the advertising guy. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm the advertising guy, and I'm also somebody who knows a little bit about Turkey. So, everybody gets typecast. Yeah, I like concepts too. I just don't know about moldbug. That's all. And I'm going to be talking to you programmer boys about moldbug. You watch. You watch. I'm going to learn. Okay. What is this going on? How does the sudden blow up in Israel affect the wider moves being played out over the geopolitical map? I don't think so at all. I think basically that the things going on in Israel right now are just things that, I don't think Trump had a whole bunch of leverage on Israel. All signs indicate that Israel had more leverage on Trump, given all the concessions he made and the things he sort of handed over to them. However, I think it likely that Trump said, look, don't be doing that shit right now when I'm in office. And so it neatly fits everything about, look, first off, the major stuff is breaking out on, what do they call it, Eid al-Fitr. It's all happening right now. You think that's an accident that it breaks out during Ramadan and on Eid al-Fitr? I think both sides have been moving up towards this for quite some time. I don't know what in this particular case kicked it off, but you know, even if it appears like it's Palestinians, very often the Israelis will go over and do some kind of false flag to start it. On the other hand, the Palestinians will very often just do exactly what it looked like they were doing, and they'll kick it off too, because the Palestinian leadership doesn't give a damn about the people getting hit by rockets or whatever, and obviously Israel doesn't give a damn about anybody getting hit by rockets or tanks or retaliatory strikes. Neither one of the ruling parties, the Israelis do care about Israeli casualties, but Israelis don't really care about casualties, for example, in Gaza, though they do adhere to standards that are much higher than those, for example, of the damned Palestinians. On the other hand, you have people saying, well, the Palestinians, it's so like binary reaction. What is it called? He was over on Popular Opinions yesterday, or just recently, and he's like, there's no comparison between the pinpoint accuracy strategic attacks of the Israelis and the totally crazy, wild, off the cuff, rocket barrages coming. And I'm like, Qassam rockets, you shouldn't even call a rocket. Like, okay, you can talk about how inaccurate the weapons of the Palestinians are. Well, go ahead and give them some, GPS guided precision munitions, and I'm sure they'll be very happy to use them, right? It's all just nonsense. Here's my view on it. People have probably been planning it for a long time, probably on both sides, because they each see that they have something to gain from it. They waited to do it with Biden, I would think. I think that both Palestinians and Israelis see reasons to do it under Biden, whereas I think at least one side saw reasons not to do it under Trump. Trump wasn't pushing that particular type of pity party as hard. And to be honest with you, I don't care. I don't care about either one of those sides. It's not my problem. Frody said something about this recently on one of his Wake Up on the Right streams, and you can check those out over on DLive. I mean, he repeats himself, but they're very good. They're fun. And I like Frody. I've had him on as a guest. He's a good guy. And I'm mostly on the same page as him, which is that I can forgive people who sympathize with the Palestinians maybe a little bit, but still I'm like, I don't care. I don't care about either one of those sides. How do I put this? Here's the best way to put it. The people who are just like tripping over themselves to like justify Israel and talk about, oh my God, they're our greatest ally and everything. I have less patience for them than I do for the people who are like, oh, it's so bad what's happening to the Palestinians, but I don't care about either side. It's not my business. It's not my business. My only interest in Israel is that we should no longer have this, speaking of proboscis, like China, we don't need to be paying for them. We don't need to pay for them. They can pay for themselves. They've got Eastern Mediterranean natural gas now. They have a country, God bless them. Don't care. Beautiful. Have your own country. It's set up. It's a fait accompli. It's de facto. It's there. Don't care about the Palestinians. Don't care about Israel. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear about it. It's not my mess. I'm not interested. I am not someone who follows, what's her name? Syrian girl or whatever. I don't care. It's not my problem. I don't want to get involved in that mess. There are many of these messes that I don't want to get involved in. Meanwhile, I'm sure that you can find many ways in which I'm inconsistent, so feel free to come in the chat and mock me one way or another. 99 Iron Duke, hello, by the way. He's got a channel out of Britain. Check him out. Every channel I know that looks at language on YouTube is left wing. Yeah, see? You see what I'm talking about, man? Exactly. Yes, Russian match ammo exists. Well, match ammo that made for Russian calibers exists. Charlemagne says, what do you think of 10mm and 10mm carbines? I don't know much about them. Certainly nothing about the carbines. And pistol caliber carbines, I'm like, meh, meh. I can see it if you want to, like, you know, just carry one type of ammunition and you've got a 9mm pistol and you want to carry a little PC carbine. That makes sense. 10mm, from what I've seen, it's just it's hot and it jumps in your hand. I mean, if I guess, I mean, I don't know much about this, but from what I've seen, and it seems to make sense, if you're somewhere around Grizzly or something, yeah, sure, carry a 10mm or whatever, but you can also carry a 44 Magnum loaded hot, you know, with enough barrel to build up pressure. I don't see a use for it with human beings. So, you know, I'm already probably considered someone who's going way overboard because I like 45 ACP. So yeah, I don't care that I only have 8 rounds. 10mm, I don't know enough about. Maybe somebody could make a strong case for it, but it's just kind of like, you know, the big issue is return to sight picture. You know, I'm actually considering one of the 2011 pistols. They're just so damn expensive, man. These double stack 2011 pistols. But I'd look at them if I ever went to 9mm. But right now, the only 9mm pistol I have, because I don't care, is a P1. You know, the P38's produced for the police forces. I've got a really, really clean one. It's a Walther, very, very clean. But they've got nice, pretty bluing. Anyway, that's another subject. There's the whole issue of, you know, I don't have the one with the reinforced slide and the rest. But the beautiful thing is they're much like a Beretta 92 or whatever. They have the skeletonized slide, so there's just nothing for the round to get stuck in as it flies out. And so they're good and reliable. But I don't know. I don't care much about 9mm. But your question was about 10mm. I don't know much about it, but it seems like it's a little bit of overkill. That's all I'm saying. Because if the old pumpkin roller round, if the 45 is not enough, then, you know, I'll go somewhere else. No, do not buy a Desert Eagle. That is so fucking ghetto. Don't. I will not have you as a guest on my channel if you buy a Desert Eagle. That is so ghetto. Oh my God. Oh, Mad Merc doesn't have a channel. If you want to see him, you will have to go over to Radlib's channel, and I can definitely recommend that. Radlib's a great guy. He's a very nice guy, very knowledgeable about economics, very friendly, just a gentleman. Definitely recommend him. No, actually, you know what? I was just recently looking at that 7.7mm or whatever, because I had never looked at those. And there's some of those are some weird looking rounds, man. So yeah, I have no idea. If you're buying, I'd get, what is it, Arasaka or whatever, and you have you favor the Mauser, the K98 or just the 98? I can't remember. Yeah, but all these like crazy types of ammunition that are, you know, difficult to find in the rest. No, just have something that's very easy. The most beautiful round ever for everything is the 22 long rifle. That's the bomb. You can literally put 200 rounds of 22 long rifle in one pocket and 200 rounds of 22 long rifle in the other pocket and jog. And you're running around with 400 rounds of ammunition, and you're lighter and faster than anyone. So anyway, whatever. 99 Iron Duke is a man of taste and distinction. He's actually gone past me. I'm thinking about going back to one of these little miniature Ericsson phones that I used to love back in the day. Let me show you. I want one of these. This was my favorite phone as a lad. Let me see if I can find it. I want one of these again. I'm totally going back. Which one was it? Oh, hell, there's one called a Mini. This is the one. T18? Yes. Is it the Anyway, I don't know what the designation is, but it looks like this. Let me pull it up. This one. Here, let me switch over. It's this. This is the phone that I'm going to get again. I used to have one of these. They're the best. Absolutely disappear into the palm of your hand. Now, of course, that would not make me as cool as 99 Iron Duke because it would still have a SIM card. But Yeah, that's where I'm going. Okay, where are we? Mad Merc's telling me I should get a Linux phone. It's never going to happen. It's never ever going to happen. Linux, I'm just never. I used to work with a developer who was way into Linux. He was one of our 3 partners. It was me, one other guy, and him. And Linux seems cool. I get the aesthetic. It makes sense to me. There's just a certain point you get to in your life where you're like, meh. All right, what do we got here? What's going on here? Prism's in the house. Hello, sir. Long time guy who's dropped in and out on the channel. Very good to see you here. He seems to have a solution. He's involved in some conversation in the background, so I will not drag it forward. Okay. Okay, I got an answer on the CZ. CZ in Polish is like the ch sound. Okay, good. Now I know. All right, which means that it is Eric J. Smoczynski. Excellent. Excellent. And you see how awesome? That's Fiend J. He's a moderator. And look at him. He's trying to help out the public. God, man, see? That's where it is. That's what it is. I guarantee that if you pay him, Autopoll will do it. No, but I'm holding out the promise of him getting paid. Yeah, by the way, go subscribe to Autopoll's channel, please, because we're now to this, where is it? You can look at Autopoll on Twitter. You know, I'm just going to do it to tell you, because I get a daily update of how many subscribers he is away from 1,000. Here it is. Today, 91 subs needed for him to reach 1,000. Please, everyone, just go and subscribe to Autopoll's channel so he will stop telling everyone how far he is away from 1,000. And by the way, he's got good content on his channel. I like him. He's a good guy. Go subscribe. Okay. You see, look at this. See, that's wisdom. Wisdom in the house. 99 R&D, that's wisdom in the house. The craziest caliber that I'm willing to have, and it's only because I inherited the rifles, so I figured, what the hell? And it's so light. Oh my God, it's so light. I have an M1 carbine I got from my dad, and so I went out and, you know, just to have it there, I went and got 400 rounds of 30 caliber carbine. But other than that, I am not getting involved in this business of you know, crazy calibers or whatever. I'm just not. Mad Merc talking about 9mm, 45, 10mm, 5.7. 5.7 seems pretty cool, and I like the fact that some of those FN pistols, they've got like, you know, 20 or 25 rounds. But the bottom line is, you can pick up a what's that damn company? Make everything out of plastic. God damn it, it's something I should know, but I'm on my second apple juice. Keltec, that's what it is. Sorry. They make the damn that's alcohol abuse. What a horror show, man. Well, everybody gets to have their fun now, right? They make a they make that little pistol. What's it called? There used to be one called a Grendel or whatever, but they do it in 22 Magnum. And ballistically, it's very similar. It's very similar to the 5.7 or whatever, and you don't have to pay all that money like you do for the damn. Oh my God, this Crowley fucking misadventure. You don't have to pay as much as you do for the a 5.7 or whatever. One more of this. Good Lord. Somebody better grab my bib and my diapers for me, man. You can dress me up, but you can't take me anymore. So anyway, yes, where are we next? Sorry. Yeah, I've been hearing some good things about 300 Blackout. It seems like it's pretty cool. But I haven't looked at the ballistic tables on it and tried to, I'm not familiar with it yet properly. But it seems like it's a good God, man, I'm so far behind. I have to move ahead. That's why you guys are all like drifting off your own way, because I'm like 10 miles behind on these questions. Oh, hey, that's good. Prism says the pipeline was restarted. I sure hope so, because I'm kind of running low on gas. Mad Merc, you want channel admin roles? Here, I'll give you one. It's not giving me the option to make you a... Oh, that's because I'm in this one. Yeah, I'll make you a moderator. Just be nice to everyone, unless they deserve abuse. Where's Mad Merc? There it is. There you go. Now you can post links. Okay. So I'm way behind. Let's see. This is... It's just out of control. You see? Young people, all they want to do is abuse. They want to push the limits. They want to push the envelope. They want to drive you. They want to pink you with the tip of the rapier until you drive forward in rage. All right. Sorry, I got to catch up with people. I'm following this chat too much. What is this from John Ski? White House reporter eagerly asks Energy Secretary Granholm how these gas shortages due to the Colonial Pipeline will help the administration push people towards accepting renewable energy. I don't know. I saw one quick clip with an exchange, and it's just, they're all retards, man. Oops, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. I do not mean to say anything negative about that group of people that slipped out. I beg for your indulgence, great gods of YouTube. I would never say that negatively about people who are differently abled in that fashion. Please forgive me. Charlemagne, by the way, is looking for a wife on Twitter. I recommend that you guys get online and watch that happen. It's highly amusing. Look, let's just face it. You're not going to find the woman of your dreams on Twitter. It's just not going to happen, ever. However, I do look forward to coming to your wedding, and I'm gonna bring music making items for the party afterwards. That will be good. Prism says, what's been happening with Tim lately? I covered this earlier in the stream. He was sick 2 weeks ago, as of today, and said he would not be able to participate in the stream. It sounded like it could be something respiratory, sounded like, under the weather. Don't know if it's the coof, don't know if it's like a resurgence of malaria. He won't say now. He just, I just got a message from him at 8:46 because I inquired, and he just said, thanks, that means a lot. So he's alive, which is good. So whatever it is that he's dealing with, he is still in the midst of it or is recovering from it. So hopefully he will be back with us soon. I hope so. John Ski, talking about burden primers are not corrosive. Yeah, Windex down the barrel. I understand you can do it with just soap and water too. So no Tim this week or the last 3. No, it's the last 2. This is the 3rd occasion that he was not here. All right. Everybody's talking about strange. I'm not good enough with long guns, man. I have a fair amount of experience with handguns, and I like long guns, and I own a few. But I'm not. I mean, you go to Gun Jesus for that. I would like to, I want to get myself. God, man, I'm not going down this rabbit hole because I'm going to start talking about what guns I might want to buy and which ones I might not. I like the idea of an old bolt-action rifle, but to be honest with you, I think with the guns that I have, some of which are very old, almost antique now at this point. I don't need any more garbage. I'm an old man now, so I'm going to slim it down. I think I'm going to get one sort of magazine-fed semi-automatic black rifle type thing. and it's still up in the air whether it's going to be an AR-15 and 5.56 or an AK platform. And I'm also kind of thinking about AK and 5.56. So I don't know. I mean, whatever, something like that. And then the other one is I'm just basically going to get something along the lines of a Remington 700 bolt action 270. And that's it. I'm done. I'm not buying any more guns. I've got enough guns. And all they do is make me spend money, and then they sit in a box. So instead, yeah, I'm going to do something else. All right. Yeah, I'm in the same camp as 99 Iron Duke on this. I don't care either way. I'm neutral. Leave me alone. I don't want to hear about it anymore. GI is asking about Turkey. I'm not planning. I don't have plans to go to Turkey again at present. However, I wouldn't say that I'm not planning to go because I don't have immediate plans. In the future, I would like to. My favorite Turkish dessert, oh man, I like fırın sütlaç, and I learned to make it myself and not do a bad job. For those who don't know, that's a kind of baked rice pudding. But man, oh my God, aşure, there are a bunch of them. God, I can't even remember Turkish right now. It's been 10 years since I left there. Phew. But I mean, the best is like kaymak with. I mean, to be honest with you, the best Turkish dessert isn't even really a dessert. It's just delicious to me. It's kaymak, which is like Scottish clotted cream. Basically, you stir the whole milk for so long that it becomes almost like cream cheese, except it's not cream cheese. It's cream, and it's so thick that it spreads like butter. And then you put that on fresh bread with honey drizzled on top. Oh my God, it's really good. Profiterol. Although that's not a Turkish dessert, it's French, I guess, but there's a inci profiterol in Istanbul on İstiklal Caddesi is quite good, so I associate it with Turkey. Yeah, there's many baklava. There's lots of halva. There's great desserts, but fırın sütlaç I always liked. It's very simple. It's just rice pudding. Yeah, Tweety Bird is asking about the business with the letters from the armed forces in France. Yeah, I did talk about that at the beginning. Here we have Mark McInnes saying, "Do you have an opinion on cannabis?" Yeah, I think that it's not for everyone. I've seen people for whom it has not really caused any problems at all. So it seems to be like, you know, if someone drinks in moderation or, you know, smokes pot in moderation, it seems to be like whatever. But I tend to think it's not for everyone, because I have seen it turn. There are people, like, I kind of get annoyed when everybody's like, you smoke pot, you can't do anything, and you're useless, and you get fat, and you're retarded, and your IQ goes down, and you can't do anything. And there's some people for whom that does not happen. However, I would be willing to bet it's for the majority it does. So it's kind of like how I feel about psychedelics. Psychedelics are not for everyone, shouldn't be for everyone. So I feel kind of like that when it comes to cannabis, but less so. So my attitude is that for psychedelics is that the use of psychedelics should be safe, legal, and rare, because it does cause a lot of people problems. I kind of feel like that about cannabis, only a little bit less so. I don't think it should be promoted. And for a lot of people, it doesn't work well. It comes down to brain chemistry. And a lot of people get screwed up by it. And they really do lose all motivation. They just never go out anymore. They don't care about anything, you know, yeah. So what's this? Joel Austin and Creflo Dollar says, have you ever dabbled in the occult? And if so, how deep have you gone? Also, are you still active in the occult? How do you define, I mean, the occult means the hidden, whatever. I mean, I'd have to say, how do you define the occult? And then how do you define deep? And then how do you define active? But my first answer is, yeah, I was very into it, whatever that means. Everything from like, you know, Crowley OTO type stuff when I was 16 and 17, and then Illuminates of Thanateros and Peter J. Carroll when I was like 17 and 18, kind of going into 19. And then I got out all of that crap before. While I was still a teenager, I was done with most of that. But that's the stuff that people generally refer to explicitly as the occult. I never lost any of my interests. I never lost any of my focus on things that you could call occult or hidden. But let's say I grew up. You know, Crowley was a degenerate spy. And many of the so-called thinkers of the occult are entirely unimpressive. On the other hand, I discovered that some of the most interesting occult knowledge is bound up in the idea of the art of memory. And so it's, you know, counterintuitive for a lot of people, but if you want to find out about the occult, you can learn far more from Saint Teresa of Avila or Hugh of Saint Victor, or you know, these kind of, I mean, people are more familiar with Giordano Bruno and Defrock Dominican, but I just found out that there's, hell, I mean, Tim told me about this years ago. He was like, you can learn about it from anywhere. You can approach it from psychology, you can approach it from animal behavior, you can approach it from the occult, but it all tends to drive towards the same thing. You can learn about it from religious mysticism, you can learn about it from yoga or tantra or whatever. So my interest in these matters has remained, but I have less and less patience for all the googly googly googly, like spooky, like the occult, right? Or like little Michael Aquino eyebrows where they point them up on the outside, or, you know, this business with you know, Anton LaVey and that nonsense. I don't care for the outward show and the trappings. You know, it's the line from Shakespeare. So may the outward show be least themselves. The world is still deceived with ornament. You know, it's all nonsense. I mean, most of the surface stuff, and particularly things that are outright called the occult, it's sideshow nonsense. Ultimately, the most important point to recognize is that there is nothing. All things that matter are concealed by what's revealed, and revealed by what's concealed. It's all one thing. And if you have the eyes to see all of this crazy tapestry of existence, or what I call isness, everything that is deeply mysterious, and filled with all the winding byways of God's mysterious creation. So it's like, you know, the idea that you can find it over here, but you can't find it over there is, I don't know. I have little patience for it. Hopefully this is a useful attempt to answer it. Okay. Where are we now? What is the next question? Yeah, Travis Blaze is asking about crypto. I haven't been following that. I saw JF Gary has mentioned that Bitcoin just started going down. I don't know what's up with that. I don't follow it closely, so I'm not a good person to say anything about that. No comment. I'll just post that on screen. Yeah, see, all that's too fancy. It's too fancy. I mean, if I'm going to do that, I'll get a bolt action, like I said, 270, or, you know, just to be honest with you, 6.5 Creedmoor or 308, you know, meh, or 30-06. Or the 7.62 by 54R. It's like, why do you have to get involved in all these weird cartridges? I mean, I get it if that's your thing and you want to collect weird things and it's fun and you're like, you know, Forgotten Weapons dude, Ian or whatever. But if you're just talking about having it as a tool, that's like, That's like, you know, buying some antique motorcycle with Lucas Electronics, which you're going to spend your entire life trying to keep working, or just buying a damn new motorcycle, you know. And they even make new motorcycles that are just like the old ones, except you don't have Lucas Electronics, in which case you don't have to like deal with all that crap. If you want a Triumph Triple, you can get one, or like a BSA Rocket 3 or whatever, but you don't have to have an old one that won't ever work, and you'll spend all your time turning a wrench. Just buy a new one that's just like it, and it'll actually run. That's my thought. Anyway, whatever. Okay, they're talking about 50 caliber and stuff. I'm telling you, what everybody needs is the Air Texan or whatever, the Air something Texan, the 50 caliber air rifles. That's one I might buy. Yes, I told everybody, go over to Autopol's channel and subscribe. Autopol, hopefully in the course of this discussion, you will keep us informed. Man, we're coming up on the end here. If there's some like great questions here at the end, I will roll on and talk. But after having spilled my beer in my lap and just mumbling in the background, it looks like looks like I might have to roll here. Let me see if they're any good. Look at Charlemagne. It's totally throwing down. Yeah, man, those Enfield bolts work smoothly too. And there's some of them, I think they call it the Mark something jungle carbine. It's basically a light little version of them that's actually interesting. But aren't those all, even those later ones, they're 303, right? So yeah, I don't know. Oh, wow. I don't even know what's going on there. Wow, John D and Philosophicat. Just that, by leave Charlemagne and me out of it. Just think about a show with John D. Cage match, John D and Philosophicat. Oh, all right, okay. Charlemagne's saying that it does happen. Okay, it is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a chill stream. I basically just wanted to get you guys, aware of what's going on. You got to see me spill a beer in my lap, which just makes me hate myself. So yeah, this has been a great stream. Charlemagne, Semiotics, did you try that Rebel Yell Rye? No, I noticed that John D was saying that they like changed it to Rebel now instead of Rebel Yell. I'll see if I can get it, because I'm almost out of whiskey, which is why I'm drinking chocolate milk. Old Japanese bikes. My buddy's got some of those CBs, some of those old CBs. All right, what's left here? See, I have a Mosin Nagant too, but yeah, I got it more recently, but I got a deal on it. I got a very good deal on it. Thanks to a fine, fine gentleman. No, I'm not leaving the U.S. I did that under Bush. I was like, screw this place, I'm going away. And I went away and lived abroad. And I found out that it wasn't my scene, because it's getting bad everywhere. So yeah, it's awful. Yeah, I'm staying here though, because there's nowhere else to go. And I ain't ceding territory willingly. I tried it once, it didn't work. I ain't doing it again. Sabrina, hello, Miss Lady. Nothing good in Atlanta. Hopefully the gas stations will start pumping gas again. So yeah, we'll have to see. All right. Yeah, I mean, everybody makes those Mausers sound good. I'd consider it. I would. All right, we'll leave that be. See, it's all about fate and fortune. That's what's important. You'll never be in control of it. Anyway, the women decide. Yeah, all right. I waste my beer like a lightweight. I just poured it too quickly. I was too excited. I was too worked up. His yell was being too aggressive. All right, so yeah, I think I'm coming to the end of my run. I want to thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for being with me. Bear in mind, on May 21st, I have Otto Pohl coming up. We'll be talking about the Circassians this weekend. I believe that's the 15th. I will be joined by Pharaoh, Apostolic Majesty, and Columba. Please do check that out. And I'm going to be putting some more things together here very soon, before too much longer. So all of you, this stream, you get what you get. I'm just talking nonsense. But it was a great pleasure to speak with you all. And I am very, very happy to have had you with me. So until next time, I am Semiotics, and I am out.